And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were. When we look back in history, we will see Trump as a scam artist who served as a vehicle for this rather than the other way around. We were not the vehicle for Trump. Trump was the vehicle for all of us.
Sorry, kids. But for the children out there, for unlawful carnal knowledge is the acronym that the lady was repeating, which is an old term, which was a crime back then, for unlawful carnal knowledge, which was a way of saying sex back then. So it's a word that has it's an acronym that has meaning. Thoughts and like Nick Fuentes is a horrible human being. He's a 26-year-old kid that lives in his mother's basement who has amassed millions of followers, being horrible, racist, stupid, all of the things. He's now making sense. I know Jesus is coming back. Dr. Soros, Jesus, this is another sign of the apocalypse. This man made some good sense right now. What's happening?
I think what's begun to happen is that a lot of these policies are impacting Trump supporters negatively. And there's a chipping away that's taking place from the veneer that Trump has had. And now they see these files as having the potential to expose Trump in negative ways. And they're looking at the whole landscape and waking up. Not all of them, but many of them.
I think it's also just that, like, there are a good amount of these folks who are like wholeheartedly believed like what was being told to them, that like really were like, yeah, we're superior and we should be, and this is how, and we should. And so when the switch up starts happening in ways that feel like evident to them, I think that they are like, yeah, no, hold up. I thought that's not what we were doing. I joined y'all because we wasn't switching up. We were standing on business that we are all of these ridiculous things. And now you're dealing with the backlash of the people who were not in on this really what we doing, but we gonna say this, and they not really with it. I think it's that. I do think that some of these folks are absolutely still hateful and racist and all of those things. But I think that they are like, hey, but I thought we was all clear that that's what we doing. And now you want to act like you get to be special because you want to be these other things that we said we were not doing? Absolutely not. So I think now they also feel emboldened to further stand on business, even against him.
Well, some of the old guard are still holding on. Bill O'Reilly, who looks like sheep's doodle in shallow water. I know he's been away for a while, and I'm not, shaming people for how they look, but he looks like a ball in a saggy sock. He was on News Nation and tried to pin the Epstein debacle on Biden. Like, yeah, okay, take a listen.
This is how disingenuous that comment was, and this is what infuriates me about these people. Jeffries knew the Biden administration had exactly the same thing the Trump administration has on Epstein. Exactly. Right. Because Epstein was convicted during the Biden administration. Not one time did Hakeem Jeffrey call for any exposition of what the Biden Justice Department knew. Not once. So this guy's a top phony. Okay, he's a political player. He doesn't care about the truth. He doesn't care about the people.
Hold on. Bill.
This is what
hold on.
he does.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. You said Epstein was convicted during the Biden administration. Epstein committed suicide during the Trump administration.
Yeah. So
how is he convicted? How do you convict a guy who's dead?
He was convicted in I believe. Okay, under Merrick Garland's Justice Department. That could be. Am I wrong on that?
You're wrong.
Wrong.
Yes, you're wrong.
I don't think so.
No, you're wrong.
And then he was incarcerated, and then he committed suicide. Okay, the suicide thing is bull. I know the New York coroner's office very, very well.
What?
There's no way those people in there put a phony report about a suicide. No way. Impossible. And it's not hard to ascertain whether you committed
Bill,
suicide or
I think this is
murdered
important. Bill, I think this is important. He was arrested in 2019, and he committed suicide in 2019. He died August 10th of 2019. So the Biden administration was not involved in a conviction or a trial of him. They were in of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay. And that's a good point of clarification.
What?
But he was arrested and indicted under Merrick Garland.
No, under Trump.
Who had all
under
of the
Trump.
information.
Epstein was arrested, indicted, and committed suicide under Trump in 2019. Trump was president. Merrick Garland was not the attorney general.
Busted.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Oh! These people. Oh my goodness. Thank you, journalist at News Nation. Thank you for correcting it. He was Google searching in real time. He's like, wait a minute, that don't sound right. This is required, right? You have live TV. You got to make sure you fact check these motherfuckers in real time. Hold up a second. No, that is not correct.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. They are trying to put this round peg into a square hole. The man, there's a problem. First of all, there is a list somewhere because that's how we knew Andrew, Prince Andrew, everybody. We know there was a whole flight thing. Somebody called up yesterday. Maybe our sister, Representative Plaskett from the Virgin Islands may have access. We know that there were people that went there and their pictures. Okay. Now, all of a sudden, and the suicide is suspicious, period, anyway. And now that we know that it happened under Trump, and there's missing tape from outside of his prison cell, there's a whole 2 minutes or something. Something happened.
So do you think Trump is implicated and therefore withholding the release?
I don't have any doubt in my mind that he was there several times. We played a clip from Melinda Gates talking about her husband, her former husband, being friendly with Epstein, and that being kind of her line in the sand. After meeting him, she said it was pure evil. And I, as a grown woman, couldn't understand how anybody would be friends with somebody like that. And we know that Epstein considered Trump one of his best friends. There's no doubt in my mind, Buster Stories and Amber Cabral, that there's some entanglement, but the man is an adjudicated sex offender. So they voted for that. He said he would grab people. So I'm saying, why the outrage now? You knew what he was when you voted for him. Why the outrage now? I don't get it.
So I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and I will say this. Most people wouldn't do this because it is, it's very labor intensive. But if you actually make a point to put yourself in the funnel of just like the right leaning stream, like that news, they don't hear things the same. They don't get the same information. Things that are amplified for us are suppressed for them. And we're starting to see some of that crossover with some of the mainstream media now, where it's like, I'll listen to something on New York Times and I'll get information that's not on the story that's over on the Wall Street Journal. That's kind of been a thing, but I think it's in an extreme way now. You can legitimately curate your own universe of information. And so I honestly feel like some of these folks really just thought that the whole sex offender, the whole he's been accused. I think they may know he went to court and then he was tried, but they have honed in on, it is a woman. She was after his money. She lied. She manipulated. We don't believe it, very much like we see with some of these other folks that have been convicted. I think they have disconnected from that. Now, what we are talking about with files is different. That's paperwork. That's not a woman looking for money. That's something else. And so now it feels real. Now it feels like not just a woman accusing him of doing something, because we know women are not going to be integral because they want your dollars. But this is different. And so I feel like that right-leaning news feed gives them a lot of room to deny the existence of things that we have all awareness of because of what we are paying attention to. This is different though.
Totally, totally. Amen. Totally.
So in
More
my
of us,
mind, it's just a
and
lack of awareness.
more of us should spend a little more time. You can't do a lot of it, but listening to those podcasts, to Fox News, so at least we can understand what their brains are digesting and therefore how they come to some conclusions. Because
Yes.
Amber's right, they're in a whole different track. It's almost like we're on AM and they're listening on FM. It's a completely different narrative.
And it even gets more granular than that. Like the conversation that I mentioned that I was having earlier today, I was trying to get someone to understand. Like they were like, well, where are the activists? Well, why aren't people having outrage about this or that thing or whatever? And I'm like, what you don't understand is everybody's news feed has been designed for just them. And unless you are intentional about it, you don't know that you should be outraged about X, Y, or Z, and that everyone's wondering why you haven't said anything. Half the Democrats don't have a good working knowledge of why people are upset with them and with the way that they're showing up. To them, they're showing up to work in a certain way. So I really think that like we are underestimating the fact that like the amount of information that we consume in a day today is like what we used to consume like 40 years ago in a year. And so people are not actually taking the time to digest. There's way too much. What's in my bucket is different than what's in your bucket. Unless I know we have access to the same things, that's why don't nobody know what DEI mean no more. Like the words are just soup.
I when you said that, I completely agree with you. I don't agree with you, Dr. Soares, that we should spend any time trying to figure out why they think the way they do, unless in doing that we can change how they feel and think the way they do. I'm already very clear that we're hearing two different things, and I'm going to also be very clear that we are sitting in truth and knowledge and community, and they are on some other plane, and I don't feel like we can change that. So I'm not going to waste my good God-given energy even being assaulted by the ignorance that they are digesting. I know they're digesting something different and receiving information differently.
I think we should know what it is, not for the purpose of changing it, but for the purpose of understanding the reality that we're facing.
Don't we know that though?
I'll probably sit somewhere in the middle where it's like I do intentionally go out to get a good sense because I like to have a good understanding of what I'm engaging with when I'm working with some of these organizations, because these people go to work too. And so I want to know what I'm going to encounter in the middle of a facilitated learning session or a dialogue. Like when I'm going to talk about something, when I have an organization ask me to come in and talk about how we can get to wellness, I need to have some semblance of what I could encounter as I'm trying to talk through that. So
That's all I'm recommending.
But I do also think that like you have to guard yourself. And so like depending on where you are and what you do for work and what your purpose is and how you're showing up, I can completely understand why someone wouldn't know. I think the really important skill here is that at every point, you should be willing to question what you are getting. I don't care if you get it here, question it, ask.
Correct.
Got no problem with nobody calling in and being like, hey, actually, so like, and the people who are integral in the way that they are doing the work of sharing information and bringing people along and being impactful, they are willing to be questioned. They are willing to be challenged. They are willing to be pushed back upon because they understand the power and the danger of us giving information without making sure that we've done the labor first. So like, there's gotta be like a bit of a middle road. Like, how do you kind of have an idea, especially if you're going to work with these folks, you might just have, you might want to tap a little bit just to know what you are encountering in the workplace. But I do think we have to find a balance where you're still protecting your energy, because a lot of it don't make no sense, and that's dangerous right now.
It's lunacy.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.